the Poptimist, and today we have Alexandra Van Zeelandt.
Well, hello.
Hey, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. I had reached out to you on Instagram because I saw some stuff that you were posting on YouTube of your podcast. Would you call it a podcast?
I would call it more of a YouTube show.
Okay. Your YouTube show, Trauma Bonding.
Yes.
And you were kind of just explaining some of the experiences that you had in your childhood and in your upbringing that were what I would describe as harrowing. Like, it very difficult and very tense. And it's a miracle that you're still walking upright. And, you know, I don't know if you're a murderer or anything like that, but yeah, I mean, it was, I was crying watching it. Like, it was emotionally very much resonated with me.
Uh-huh.
'Cause we have different yet similar backgrounds, and I know what it's like to feel like the rest of the world doesn't really understand.
Yeah.
Especially in the modern American culture that we have. Because it's like my background, just to give you the 50,000-foot overview. So both of my biological parents aren't in my life. Biological father, drug addict, crooked cop, got kicked off the police force when I was 5, was super into cocaine, abandoned the family. Like, he and my mom got divorced, and he just disappeared off the face of the earth. And then my mom severely is mentally ill, has definitely some addiction issues that are used to cope with personality and mental disorders.
Sure. Borderline
Personality disorder. More than likely bipolar. I don't know what else is going on there. But just like some of the traumatic experiences you described really resonated with me. And it takes a lot of courage, I think, to share some of the things that you've shared. So I just related greatly to you and to your story, because when, you know, we were talking about it before we started up, but we had met kind of loosely a couple of years ago, because you had known some of my friends that I was living with at the time, and I would have had no idea that was your background or your life, or what your story was, and you really never know what someone's story, life, or background is. So yeah, can you just talk a little bit about why you started Trauma Bonding and what was the kind of the jumping off point for it?
Yeah. So before I begin, I want to thank you for feeling comfortable with me to share that.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
I really do.
I got to get you just a little bit closer to the mic. Sorry to interrupt.
Bring it closer.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect.
But thank you for sharing that with me, because, you know, so many people throughout my life have looked at me and chosen to view me as a fantasy rather than a real person. You know, and that has a lot to do with the modeling industry and the facade that we wear when we're in the entertainment industry.
So can we pause right there? Can you explain a little bit of what your background is and what that fantasy is for people?
So I began my career in entertainment as a model, and I was discovered in Playboy, and that led to a role in The Wolf of Wall Street, a very small role.
You were in The Wolf of Wall Street?
Yes, I was.
I did not know that. That's one of my favorite fucking movies.
I'm on the DVD cover.
No way.
Yes, and I have fun stories to talk about as far as that's concerned, because I broke my foot on set. John Bernthal actually talked about me when he was on Conan O'Brien, because I had broken my foot in the airplane scene, and for whatever reason he felt he needed to share that with the world. However, they placed me in 3 different spots on the promotional posters and the DVD cover. So even though I'm only in the movie for about 2 minutes,
are you one of the women that has the money strapped to you? Or what role did you...
I was a blue chip hooker.
Oh, fuck.
And, you know, I would never have said yes to something like that unless it was Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about that is that I got discovered in Playboy and I was cut from being Playmate. It was during the time that Hugh Hefner was going to marry Crystal, and she became the runaway bride. So all the girls that were in competition to be the July 2011 Playmate, we all got demoted to different roles. And let me tell you something.
Because she got it?
Because she got it. You know, it helps when you're down on your knees on the guy who owns the company versus sweet, innocent little me looking to, you know, get away from what it is that I was running from. Exactly. And God works in really interesting ways because I wouldn't have been seen by Martin Scorsese had I been a Playmate. He wanted unknown talent, and the Playboy office brought the pictures to him, and I was one of the girls that he selected. So it's interesting how those things happen. Because of that, I was able to get my SAG card, and that was a really big moment for me because I had only gone into modeling as a way to be taken seriously as a dramatic actress. But what happened was that I got trapped in golden handcuffs. You see, once you are seen as someone who is a bombshell or, you know, the temptress or a blue chip hooker, it's hard to get away from that. And I kept getting these roles that I was turning down because it didn't emulate...
Typecast.
Correct. It didn't emulate what I believed my talent and my ability correctly showcased. So a big thing for me was that my mother had passed away in 2019, and my mother was the only solid foundation I had throughout my traumatic upbringing. If I didn't have a normal mother, I don't know where I would be. I think that was the saving grace. As somebody who is female and identifies as such, it was very important that she was the one that was strong and did her best to raise me to the best of her abilities.
A good role model for you.
Correct. So when she passed away, I began drinking more. Now, I had already been drinking because when you pose for people like Playboy and Maxim, you go to these parties and, you know, there are these different events that you'll go to where photographers will come and they'll photograph you. And you're around women that, you know, aren't necessarily the sharpest tool in the shed. I have many great friends in the modeling industry. However, when my friends weren't around me, you have to make nice with everyone. And that it's kind of hard when you're somebody who considers yourself to be an artist.
And you weren't really seen as that.
Correct. So she died in 2019. The drinking went up to a level that I myself am not proud of. And then 2020 happened. So then we're gonna max it out. We're gonna max that out on the scale.
The whole world is melting down, and you're just
at the bottom of a bottle, a tequila bottle specifically. I would drink tequila straight, and my chaser would be coconut water because, you know, I was at least hydrating, so it made me feel a little bit better about being drunk all day.
Well, you got to be responsible, right?
That is being responsible, right?
Yeah.
So eventually, I injured myself. I have the scar on my knee. I'll never laser it off. I want to make sure that I can see what excess can do to a person. That's my reminder right there. And that changed my world. I became who I was always supposed to be. I was rediscovering the frightened child that lived inside of me, the shadow that had dominated my life. And I realized that I needed to heal. And I did that through stand-up comedy. I didn't know this at the time, but as I said, God works in mysterious ways. I wanted to be a dark comedian in the vein of George Carlin, Bill Hicks, with a twist of Joan Rivers. That's what I portrayed on stage. And the more that I continued to write these jokes, the more I realized that I'm trying to get in touch with myself here with these topics. Because it was all dark topics.
Like, what were some of the things that you would talk about?
I would talk about my upbringing. I would talk about being in the modeling industry. I would talk about, specifically, I had this opening joke about when a guy tried to drug my drink and I swapped it and I drugged him instead. I also robbed him.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that really did happen on 2nd Avenue.
Damn. Yeah.
So all of these real life things that had happened to me, my friends were like, these are excellent. However, do you realize what you're saying? So I started to think about it even more so. And then I went to therapy. Actually, let me be completely honest with you right now, because I didn't talk about this in episode 1 of Trauma Bonding. I had tried to make a relationship with my father again after my mother's death. My father has severe mental illness. Cocaine usually is an accelerant for people with bipolar disorder. It makes them feel normal. That's how they're able to kind of like
level out. Emotionally speaking. At least what the perception is.
Correct. And he was a drug addict, so it didn't really matter exactly what it is that he could get his hands on at a certain point. But I had tried, because he had become sober as well, to have a relationship with him. And on Christmas 2 years ago, my father tried to shoot me. And all of the things that I thought that I was healing from, it brought me right back to that. And I realized that I couldn't help myself anymore. That I needed a therapist that could help me. I'm 32 years old at this point, and here I am. I'm back to being 13 in a life-threatening situation with my dad. And I started going to a Jungian psychologist who I accredit in this journey of becoming whole again. And the more I started to go to therapy, I realized how I wasn't alone. That there are people that struggle to know themselves and make sense of what they came from. And I would sit there and try and figure out, what can I do to help people? And through doing stand-up comedy, going to therapy, and having just conversations with normal people where we would get on a deep emotional level and connect, that we were trauma bonding. And it just stayed in my head, the name, trauma bonding. What if I do a show where I research all of these different tips and I give it to people for free? I can not only therapize myself, but I can be there for people who are on a quest to discover who they are and move past their pain once and for all. Whether that's closing a chapter with your father or your mother or a lover, any type of traumatic situation, we're all connected in our pain and in our sorrow, and together we can find joy. So that's how I got into trauma bonding.
Well, I think it's hard for people to wrap their minds around having a relationship like you had with your father, because it's almost against like natural human instinct, I think, in a lot of ways. And that was something that I had to make sense of for myself, because like for me, I was probably 25 or so when I realized, oh, fuck. A lot of bad shit happened to me, and I never really haven't acknowledged it, you know? Where in a way, yes, where it was like I always had a chip on my shoulder. But basically what had happened, I can give you the overview. We can trauma bond right now.
Yeah.
I was working at an apartment job, and I did not like it. There was an assistant manager that I really hated that was just kind of mean to me, you know, awful to me, mistreated me. And that was no, never mind. You meet assholes in the world. That's just part of life. The problem that was happening was there was a bunch of these maintenance dudes that also worked at this complex who were disappearing for hours at a time. And we had a bunch of units down, AC units. We had maybe a quarter or half of them down, which is a lot in an apartment community, especially if there's over 400 units. So people were coming in as I was trying to give tours, and I was a leasing consultant, so the way that I made a bulk of my money was by renting to people, you know, getting them to come in, signing them up, all that, getting them approved. And what had come out was I had gone to the maintenance guys first, and I said, hey, look, I know it's the dead heat of summer. It was around this time of year. It's like a lot's going on. I imagine you guys got your hands full. What's going on? You know, like there's a major issue happening here. And they were like, oh, we're just waiting on parts. We're waiting on pieces. It's no big deal, da-da-da-da. Couple weeks go by. It's still happening. Eventually, I go to my direct manager, who also did not like me, and told her, like, hey, they're not fixing these units, and there's people coming in and they're pissed. You know, during me giving tours, there's residents coming in and they're preventing us from renting. Like, that was the direction it started going. So when it started fucking with the money, she went to the property manager. They are the regional manager, and she pulled everybody into the office one by one, the maintenance guys, and it came out that they were having gangbangs in vacant apartments with this assistant property manager.
What?
Simultaneously, in my own personal life, I was dating an escort, and my life was fucking unraveling. I had just kind of gotten over a stint with doing a lot of Adderall, too. It was like right on the tail end of that. But I was dating this escort, and it was as psychotic as it all sounded. So that was going on in my work life from the hours of 9 to 5, and then in my personal life, that's what was happening. And there was a lot of other issues with the job. And it was what was crazy about it is that it was like a matriarchal kind of thing. So it was a lot of women that were running everything. They only fired the woman. They didn't fire any of the guys. And I decided that I was going to go to war with them. You know, I hated the property manager. I did not like her at all as a person. But morally, she was incompetent and she couldn't do her job. But morally, it was wrong to only fire the woman when there was other willing participants.
I agree with that.
So, and you can make the claim, well, she was in a management position, she had power over them. That's not the kind of situation it was. Like, everybody was willing. They were in, look, people can do what they want. I don't really give a fuck. In their own personal life, don't do it. Be like me. And if you're going to date an escort, do it away from work, you know? But long story short, once my life was completely crumbling and coming down, I was like, oh shit. I was in so much emotional pain. It was so profound and so hot. You know, that's how I would describe it. It was like the ground was opening up inside of me for the first time, and I was acknowledging that there was a giant gaping wound that existed in me that I never acknowledged in that way before.
Sure.
And it was, as I had mentioned, you know, it was a lot of childhood trauma. And there were some very positive things that happened to me through my life, and my saving grace is my mom ended up getting remarried to a guy who adopted me, and I consider him my dad. I still have a relationship with him today. We have a great
wonderful
relationship. Yeah. but you're trying to outrun your shadow is basically what you were talking about. And that was something that I can absolutely relate to, because I tried to outrun that shadow with various things. I've never really been too much of a substance person. I did go down the path of a little while of doing Adderall a lot, but I got off that train because at the end of the day, I'm too big of a bitch to be able to consistently do drugs or drink.
Sure.
I can't handle it. I can't handle the come down. But yeah, it's just analyzing, like, finally owning and having the mental facilities to be like, oh, this is something that has nothing to do with my childhood, and I'm in the middle of this situation. Because there was a lot of other warning signs about both the escort and about the job that were there that I ignored, clearly.
Right.
You don't want to pay attention to those things. But I came to terms with the fact that I had a very, very traumatic life filled with pain, longing, sorrow, and despair. And I decided that I wasn't going to allow myself to be a victim of it anymore, which I've made a lot of progress since then. Still human, not perfect, definitely make plenty of mistakes. But I think just that ownership is very empowering. Like, I remember the moment that I decided I was going to change. I was sitting in the parking lot, and this might have been like June 5th of 2018, I'm guessing, of the Ascend on Elm Hill Pike, because that was close to where I was living. And I'd gone to deposit my final check, and I was sitting there, and I was like, I don't have a normal or healthy relationship with sex, with women, because like another thing that I really struggled with was being very misogynist, and having a very negative view of women, because my mother was very emotionally abusive to me, and really just worked horribly on my self-esteem. Like, I had no self-esteem. So it's basically what the stereotype is of a woman with daddy issues. I was a man with mommy issues.
Sure.
And I've never been like an abusive hitter or smacker or anything like that. Like, that's not me. But I definitely was emotionally reckless. And I didn't really care about anyone's pain except my own. I had no empathy. I think that's the thing that I would say I lacked, is that I had no empathy whatsoever. And it wasn't that I didn't care. It's just that I didn't know I had the capacity to care about other people in that way. And empathy was something that I've learned over the years, because there's been empathy that's been shown to me, and once you're kind of shown that, I started backtracking and looking at some of maybe the more positive aspects of my life, or people that really liked me and gave me chances, or tried to help me. But I was very angry for years on end, from all through childhood until I was 25. I'm 33 now. And life gets a little bit easier when you're in your 30s, I think. You're able to make sense of yourself and the world a little bit more.
I agree with that.
Even though it doesn't necessarily make sense, you can accept that it doesn't make sense.
Sure. Yeah, and I identify with all of what you said, because my shadow had taken over my life. The darkest part of me was running rampant, right? So I had all this childhood trauma that occurred. And I remember the day that I was 11 years old. My brother was brought back to life, and I'm sitting in that hospital room, and I said, I guess I'm an adult now. I'm an adult today. This isn't about me anymore. I can take care of myself. And I lived by that. So every bad thing that happened even after that, I'm saying to myself, well, I'm an adult.
It's a trauma response.
Yeah. So I walled a lot of my feelings. I even have an issue with crying. So crying for me is very hard. My body still doesn't know how to let the tears out, regardless of how touched or hurt I might be feeling. They'll come out sometimes, but for whatever reason, and I'm working on this, there's like a halt button. So I can feel it welling. I can feel it like tingling at the surface, but there's a part of me that still will not allow people to see me cry. It doesn't like it. Which is why on that first episode, I hit play. Whatever I got is what I got. And I did allow myself to be vulnerable because I never allowed anyone who actually knew me to know anything about me because I was embarrassed. I was mortified.
I deeply relate to that.
I was angry. That anger fueled me in entertainment, which in a sense was a superpower. But let's say maybe my friend got a better role than I did. I was immediately angry and jealous. Immediately. And I could feel it festering inside of me. All I needed was lava, and you could call me a volcano. That's how angry I would get, and that's not a normal response from people who love and care about you. But I didn't have anybody. I had my mother, yes, but I had a brother who survived a catastrophic brain injury. He is in the 1 percentile of gaining cognitive function. It was because I removed myself from needing anything in this world that my mother could focus on him and his healing. I'm not saying I'm a martyr in this, but that's how I felt as a child, as an 11-year-old.
It's a really tough position to be in.
Yeah. While your dad is off doing coke and giving your money, your life savings away to strippers, fucking prostitutes. You come from a rich, affluent family, and one day you start going through your cupboards and your refrigerator, and there's really nothing there. So it was a life of extremes. It really has been. I grew up very rich, and after we moved to Tennessee, that's when we fell into poverty. And I almost think, to my way of thinking, that it's easier to just be poor rather than be very well off and then have nothing.
I could see that because you wouldn't know any different. Like, I grew up in a working class family, so it was like when we got something good. And again, we're in America, so it's a different situation.
Sure.
We're in the top 1% of the world. Even being like having a quote unquote poor childhood in America, we're still in the top 1% of the world. But sorry, I digress. Keep going.
Yeah, well, the poverty line that we were under, 5 different times they tried to foreclose on our house. A lot of my modeling checks went to going towards the mortgage when we were about to be kicked out. Like my entire Wolf of Wall Street check went into saving my family home. And I did that for my mother and my brother. Not for my father, but we couldn't get rid of him. And I think it's that she didn't believe that she could do it alone, which is why for me to get into a relationship, which I have a really hard time doing, I've been single technically for 8 years.
It's a similar situation to myself as well.
Yes. So my ex-boyfriend, who I think is a great guy, but he wasn't great with me. And I realized I was recreating the relationship my mother and father had. And I caught it.
Funny how that works, isn't it?
Yes. I do believe that there is somebody for me. I really do in my heart. Maybe I am a hopeless romantic, but I'm unwilling to live a life like my mother. I won't do it. And if I am not supposed to have babies, if I'm not supposed to be married, I'm okay with that. It would devastate me. But I surrender. I'm not willing to fight against a current that is blasting me down the river. I just have to go with it at this point in my life.
I understand that. Yeah, well, I feel like the other side of relationships, for me, it's very hard to be, I think, vulnerable and trusting of women, just because I saw my primary caregiver, how she treated men, and not only that, how she was treated. Because after her and my biological father split up, she got married to an alcoholic who beat her every single night for a year straight. And that, between my biological father and the first guy she got remarried to, that was ages 0 to 7. And eventually she got married to my dad, and my wife is a lot better off because of that. I should have been 100% a statistic. Like, I should have been a criminal, like a street hoodlum, based on how I grew up and the cards that I was dealt. Mm-hmm. But I had a positive, healthy male role model from 7 on that turned me into the person I am today, you know? So it's really hard to grapple with that for me, because I feel like not everyone understands, especially if they come from like a normal, and normal is relative. I'll say that.
Sure.
Normal is relative. Every family has its own dysfunction and its own shit, for sure. But I think for the kind of world that you or I come from, I think if you're just a normal family from a suburb where no one's getting beat and no one's addicted to drugs, it's a little bit hard to relate, I think.
Yeah.
Because we're seen as aliens almost.
Because that's our normal. That was normalized for us as children. And you have the mother wound, like I have the father wound.
Totally.
I don't necessarily know what that's like for you, but I know that I watched it with my uncle because my Nana was a narcissist. This was the last episode that I did. I broke down narcissistic personality disorder because it pisses me off when people flippantly use the term narcissist.
100%.
You don't know what a narcissist is until you've met my Nana.
Yeah.
She's dead now. The world is a better place. I hate to say that, but
no, I understand. Well, the other thing that I think really triggered me, if I can use that word, a lot of the time, it's in our culture. It's like, and I want to be thoughtful in how I'm speaking.
You have been, if that helps.
Yeah, thank you. But women are not given a lot of accountability, I feel like, from an emotional aspect in our society. Mm-hmm. And as you were kind of saying, they're just allowed to call men narcissists at lengths, you know, just because the guy does something that they don't like or is kind of selfish.
Yes.
Which I think is what you were kind of getting at.
It is what I'm getting at, because when you are the victim of a narcissist, like my mother was, it fucked her up when it came to parenting me.
Sure.
You know, the repercussions were I had to be careful of who my friends were, because she would call my mother's friends up and go, I'm worried about Lisa. Did you hear this about Lisa? Just planting these little seeds and getting involved in her life.
Yeah.
Just for fun. That's shit that she would do. My Nana, before she died, 2 of her 3 children died, and she had to see that. My uncle, who was very emotional, right? she would always say he's not good enough, he's not this, and he tried for so long to get her to love him.
And it never works.
And it never worked. You know what did work? Heroin. That worked. And my brilliant, wonderful uncle died in a bathroom with a needle in his arm. And my mother, don't tell people how your uncle died. Don't tell people how why not? Are we not all people? Are we not all connected in our pain? Do we really have to hide something like this?
So it's teaching you shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shame and guilt. That was something that I really had a hard time. I'm more of a guilt person than a shame person.
I'm more of a shame person.
Okay. Yeah. It's easy to make me feel guilty about something.
Yeah.
Shameful. My shadow will come and fuck you if you want to play that game with me. Because I'm very much in communication with my inner child and my shadow. And the shadow is the protector. It had to be.
Yeah.
You know, I created this character.
That's why it ran rampant for so long.
Yes.
Because it was protecting that inner child.
It was.
Yeah. I mean, you're talking my language because, like, my mother, another thing, borderline, she had borderline personality disorder, but she's also narcissist.
They go together.
Yeah. And it's, I think, like, kind of rare for... Like, I remember I went into counseling, and my counselor, I was talking to him. Within 2 minutes, he told me, you have to cut your mother out of your life. Mm-hmm. He said, she is, and he even said, this was back in 2018, he's like, this word is used, overused a lot.
Correct.
But narcissist. He's like, your mother is a textbook narcissist. Mm-hmm. And she's also a... overt narcissist.
Okay.
So she doesn't really hide it, you know. There's like a
grandiose. That's a grandiose narcissist.
Yeah. So and then there's covert narcissism.
That's my nana.
Yeah, which sounds kind of that's more about how she was, but my mother, and she had a very traumatic childhood. Awful, horrible. I would never wish it on anybody. Mm-hmm. Just the kind of shit that you hear and makes your stomach turn, and all you feel is sorrow. That's all her life was. But she never took accountability for anything. But that's due to her mental disorders, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, narcissism is overused constantly, and like for me to kind of take it back to the dating thing, I feel like it's really, really hard as a man when you're kind of men are a dime a dozen as far as the dating market is concerned. Whether it's a good man, bad man, whatever. There is an oversupply of that. And it's the way that nature designed us, which is an unpopular thing to say in today's world. But women are seen as a commodity, you know? It's like you have to woo, you have to impress, you have to win them over. And the thing is, as a man dating in this world, guess what? Every woman's a little bit different as far as what she responds to, what she likes, what she doesn't like.
Yeah.
And we're all human, so there's some recurring themes and patterns, I'm sure, just like there is with men.
Yes.
But I think I got my heart broken enough times. Mm-hmm. I didn't start dating an escort on fucking accident. You know,
right.
It was like I went down a very particular path of always getting my heart broken over and over again because I try to be vulnerable. Like when I was in my 20s, I was very much like early 20s, late teens, early 20s, tried to be Mr. Romantic. You know what I mean? I tried to be a hopeless romantic and wear my heart on my sleeve. But nature is cruel. Because at the end of the day, and this is just taking it down to complete brass tacks and complete science, but we are designed to breed when we're young. You know what I mean? So it's like survival of the fittest. The strongest genes win. Mm-hmm. And I kept being in these situations over and over again with dating where I would get tested by these, and I didn't realize this at the time, but I would feel like I was being tested and kind of like in the crosshairs. Oh no, what do I do? What do I do? Well, I was dating a lot of women that had mental disorders that were similar to my mom.
Yeah.
You know, because it was, as you said, you were recreating a relationship because it was what you saw. It made an imprint on you.
Yes, it did.
And with my inner child, and I think I've reached it in some ways, but kind of talking about, before we got started today, we were talking about dreams.
Yeah.
So this ties into it. So in my dreams, I think I am the untouched version of myself, like untouched entirely by the trauma of this life.
I love that.
And the things that I've experienced. I'm the natural, and not in every dream. You know, I still have nightmares or dreams that don't make sense. I don't think they always mean something, but I think they do mean something most of the time.
Yeah.
But I learned over the years, every major life decision, not every single major life decision, but most of the major life decisions I've made up until this point in my life have been around the time that I've had one of these dreams. Like before I moved to Nashville, I was living in Maine. That's where I grew up for the most part, Florida and Maine. My dad was in the Navy, the one that adopted me. He and my mother were still together at the time. They moved away. They moved down to North Carolina. I was in love, or what I thought was in love, with this girl that I was head over heels for. She was so fucking mean to me. She was horrible to me. Just always kind of keeping me at arm's length, treating me like shit, really speaking poorly to me. And she had a very traumatic upbringing as well. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, so this nice man comes in who wants to love her, and she doesn't know how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she was just had a mean streak, you know, like, and again, I'm empathetic to what someone has experienced in their life. Now I understand. I don't resent her for it anymore, but I had to work through that. But she had gotten engaged, and it broke my heart, shattered me into a million pieces. And around that time, I had this dream that I was driving my 2000 Pontiac Grand Am, which was a really fucking shitty car. It was a green Grand Am. It had no working heat or no working AC in Maine. No heat in Maine in a car. So I really earned my stripes in this life, I feel like, based on that alone. But I was driving it, and I was asleep at the wheel in this dream. And I remember passing by my friend Brian, who always worked on that car. And I woke up in the dream, and I saw it sinking down a boat ramp, and I was going to go get it. And Brian said, he said, don't go after it, you'll die. He's like, you'll die, don't do it, stupid, just let it go, leave it. So when I woke up from that dream, I knew I had to move to Nashville. And around that same time period, it's hard to remember all of the details, but this was around the same time, I was like upset and moping, laying in bed, and I was teaching at a music school. And it was the school that I kind of gone up to. My mentor, he owned the school, playing bass in an ensemble, like teaching kids how to play, you know, Arctic Monkeys and Black Keys songs and all that in a band setting. But my good friend Ned, that I grew up playing music with, had the same teacher. He taught at the school private lessons, and he was also like a co-instructor in this ensemble with me. He told me, he's like, dude, quit being a bitch. He's like, get in your car, come down here. We had band rehearsal that night that we were supposed to do. His student ended up backing into my car in the parking lot, ripping off my bumper and totaling the car. And the car was probably worth, if I'm being like totally honest with you, maybe $400. Maybe. I got $2,000 for that, and it gave me the money to fucking move to Nashville. So, and again, like some of the time frame is sketchy, but it was all in the same time period, so I don't remember how exactly it happened.
So can I interrupt for a second?
Absolutely.
You woke up in your dream.
I woke up in the dream, yeah.
Okay, so that's called lucid dreaming. And as somebody that has studied the interpretation of dreams, which I cannot pronounce correctly with my Invisalign, what your dream signals to me is that if you stay in the past, you're going to die in that past, that life that you were living. So in that dream, all the symbolism to me as I was listening to it, you are so in tune with yourself. And you really need to give yourself credit for that, because not a lot of people are willing to look at the symbolism in the dream. And then when it occurs in this outer 3D that we're living, say, oh my God, this goes back to my dream. So when you lucid dream, it has been... There's a new study that came out from doctors in Sweden, I believe, that they were able to discover that lucid dreaming is a state that is different from your regular REM sleep and your waking life. It's its own state when you're able to access and wake up within the dream. This is something that Neville Goddard, do you know who that is?
That sounds very familiar to me.
Okay, he is like a famous mystic. This is the man that I believe a lot of people take the work from. They've stolen it in a sense. Maybe that's a little too intense terminology.
Influenced by it?
Largely.
Yeah.
To the point where they take what they believe is useful and leave behind the other information that would be otherwise important for you to know when you are consciously trying to create a better life for yourself. Like Abraham Hicks, she's someone that when people come up to me and say, oh, I love Abraham Hicks, I go, okay, I know where you're at. No, Neville Goddard wrote this book in 1942, I believe, called The Feeling is the Secret. And in this book, he breaks down how you can consciously create the life that you want. And one of the exercises is a state akin to sleep. And that's when you're going to enter a meditative state where the spine is nice and aligned. And you're going to do your breathing. And you're going to work yourself into that state right before you fall asleep. And in the first person, you're going to imagine the thing that you want. And it's already done. Once you've done it correctly, it's done. You can't second guess it. You can't go, oh, I can't wait for this to happen. It's already happened. You see what I'm saying? So you're going to drop that manifestation into the dream. And if you get good enough at it, you can wake yourself up in the dream and live it as it has already occurred. So when you wake up from that state, you have already entered the holy place. You've already gone into the world of creation. You are in the subconscious, because when you fall asleep at night and enter the subconscious realm, that's where you meet your maker. That's where you are in communication with the divine.
There is something, I think, divine about dreams.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it is the true spiritual realm where our souls maybe not originate from, but where they reside when we sleep. Mm-hmm. And I remember when in the time period that I was kind of talking about with the job and dating the escort and all that, I had a dream that my grandfather came to me. And he was wearing like this red jacket that he always wore when I was a kid. And I met him at dusk. It was like I dream a lot too of like liminal spaces. Mm-hmm. where I feel like reality, the thing about dreams, and I'm not sure really what it's like for everybody, but whatever my dream world is, it's different from reality, but it's close. But it's something like it's slightly off.
Right.
There's something kind of abstract and not right about it, but it makes sense in the dream. That's the way it is. But there was like a Texaco station, just like a gas station, like convenience store, and then 2 pumps on the side of it. And there was one lamppost. It was right at dusk. And he met there. And I don't know how long this dream was or really what it was quick. If you were to I was to recreate it and film it, it would probably be 30 seconds or a minute long. But my grandfather just comes up to me, he smiles, and puts his hand on my shoulder. And that was the entire dream. And that was in the same time period where I decided I'm going to make the decision to better myself and not allow myself to relive these trauma loops in my family, that had been going on for generation after generation. And really traumatic shit happens, and you really can't. There's some you can prevent it from happening for sure, but there's a lot of it that is just life. It's the tragedy and hardship of life that we're all dealing with, and really, you are either given the tools in your childhood to appropriately deal with it, or not.
Yeah.
And I was definitely in the or not camp.
Right.
And just making that active decision to change, I feel like in my dream, that's why I saw my grandfather, and why, why it was there, because I was making this very intense emotional change. I could almost physically, and I don't know if it was this way for you, but when you finally decided to take ownership of your life, I physically felt like an emotional wound in my soul, living from my heart to my stomach. And there were times I was like driving over the river in Nashville and just wanted to pull over off on the side of the road and just jump.
Yeah.
And would fantasize about killing myself.
Yeah. I've been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that it's more normal than you would realize.
People don't want to talk about it, though.
They don't want to talk about it.
Because ugly.
And ugly isn't something pretty to look at. But unfortunately, when we're coming to terms with all of these little fractals of personality, it all equals one beautiful being, at least to my way of thinking. And in my darkness, I can find the light. I mean, I was talking about reverse drugging a guy on stage.
Yeah.
And all these traumatic events that happened, I kept saying to myself, oh, this is going to be fun. This is funny. I can say it this way. And it made me think about it differently.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like a cognitive change in taking ownership of the story of your life.
I was looking for material. That's what was happening.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, like you have to sit there and acknowledge that this darkness lives inside of every fucking person. It's not just you. It's not just me. And here's the mistake that a lot of people make with the shadow. I made this mistake. I wanted to abolish it. I wanted to kill it. I wanted to get rid of it. That was my way of thinking, like if I employ my shadow while I'm researching how to get rid of it, it has its job doing stand-up. I literally gave it a job. Then I can figure out how I can, be rid of this thing that I'm not really proud of. And the more I got into Carl Jung, I'm not a Freud girl. Fuck Freud. That's where I'm at. I loved Carl Jung. And the more I researched about him, I realized that I was going about this incorrectly. That my shadow was this unlimited tool of creativity, that it was funny, it was smart, and in its own way, it cared about me so deeply that it would just create this void with people it knew didn't serve me.
To protect you.
Yes. It is my protector.
It's hypervigilant.
It's very hypervigilant. It's a master performer. Oh my God. All she wants is a microphone. It's true. She's a little shy when it comes to podcasts, but I think when you watch my show, you can see when she comes out. She feels safe when I'm alone. She'll let her zingers out.
Yeah.
It's the way she is.
No, I can relate to that because it's like recently, probably within like the past 3 or 4 months, I just started realizing, and I think this is actually kind of the Carl Jung school of thought, we're all made up of different subpersonalities.
Yes.
That come out at different times.
Different archetypes.
Yes.
Yes.
And my shadow, parts of my shadow, one part is like a general.
Okay.
And he loves battle. He loves to fight. He has a bloodlust. He wants to decapitate people.
Okay.
And make people suffer by pure brute force. Mental assault. My friend Lauren, who's a therapist, Lauren Gomez, who's been on the show numerous times, she called it the cerebral assassin. And that's one aspect of my shadow. Another aspect is Brother Ruin, which is also kind of it's a monk-like state.
Okay.
But it can be very shame-driven, and that's the shadow aspect. Where I am abusing myself with things that I need to get done. I need to get this done. Why haven't I get this done? I'm being fucking lazy today. I'm not doing anything. I'm not doing any of the chores I'm supposed to do. I need to practice. I need to do this. I need to do that. And I don't think any, kind of to give credence to what you're saying, any of those parts are necessarily bad. They just have to be in check, because the issue that I have more often than not is the different sub-personalities, internal family systems. I'm sure that's have you heard of internal family systems? That's kind of what this is. It's the sub-personalities thing.
Okay.
But it's like every single one of us has this, whether I feel like we're aware of it or not, you know? And I started taking inventory of these different aspects of myself, because there's definitely an aspect of me that is very performative with what I do, and making sense of what it was. It's not an accident that I have a fucking podcast when my mom told me to shut the fuck up my whole life and no one cared what I said. You know, now I'm forcing people to fucking listen to me. Not forcing. They can turn it off if they so choose. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So it's just like making sense of that, because it's like, well, why did I start a podcast? Like, why did I decide to go down this journey? And I'm grateful that I did. Don't get me wrong. But it's making sense of those things. Excuse me. As the years go on, it rarely seems like anything is on accident now. Like, I think we really pick the life that we want to have for better or worse in a lot of ways. But I was so miserable for so fucking long. And there's a certain level of misery that you're going to have in life, because there's a certain level of tragedy that happens in life that no one can control.
Yeah.
And you have to choose, am I going to let this ruin me and bring me down, or am I going to rise to the occasion? And I feel like that is like the part of me that's that inner child, the one that's in my dreams. It's the like this, my inner Superman, the new Superman movie. By the time this came out, that will have come out. But truth, justice, in the American way. I think that's something that's always resonated with me, because I want to be a Boy Scout. I want to always do the right thing. But I can be really hell-bent on moralism. For example, I was going to battle with those apartments for what was going on there, but in my personal life, I was dating a fucking escort. So, and was I technically right on the moral level at work? Yes, for sure. But also, I was no saint myself. I was doing shit that I wasn't very proud of.
Pot calling the kettle black.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely. The thing that was just fucked up about them that I will defend is that the fact that they fired her and, they made, but that was able for me to get on my moral crusade high horse, be like, you're beneath me. You are scum. And of course they were all women too.
Yeah.
So that was the other added thing in all of that,
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. And so much of that I do identify with, especially in the different, I call them job titles of my shadow, right? And, I've been on this mental health journey, healing myself, and not even healing. Let's change that. I'm accepting who I am.
Totally.
Even the parts of me that I can't change, I fucking accept now. And there are things that my shadow enjoys, like there are things that my inner child enjoys. Sometimes they both enjoy the same thing, like martial arts. Martial arts, that has been a godsend. I've been studying Muay Thai for 4.5 years, maybe even a little bit more than that now. My goal is that I would like to coach and help professional fighters as a side quest. Listen, every girl needs a side quest. Mine is being around hot guys and teaching them how to
kick ass.
Yeah. And hot girls. But that's something that I've become truly passionate about, because when I would drink and I would have to go to these big parties in New York, when I would go to these parties in LA, I needed to be on the fence. Like, I didn't get to go to the orgy. They knew better. I was the bitch that would snap if you grabbed my ass.
Hell yeah.
And I was ready to throw down. That's why I'm not in the Illuminati right now. My mouth is way too fucking big for that. I am ready to throw hands at a drop of a dime. Fuck with me, and you're gonna eat my elbow, bitch. That's where I've always been. Hello, Shadow. Welcome. You know what I mean? So this is something that the Shadow enjoys and the inner child also enjoys. And you have to find those things, as silly as that sounds. Maybe your inner child enjoys painting. So instead of sitting on your ass and watching TV, you drive over to Hobby Lobby or Michael's, whatever, and you buy a canvas and you get some oil paint and you just start. That's how simple it is to make a connection with these fragments of the self. Instead of thinking about doing it, you do it. One day you just decide, I'm tired of this shit. All I have to do is apply a little bit of action here. I don't have to change, I just am. And I become who I always have been. Does that make sense?
No, that makes all the sense in the world. And I think when you tie that back to kind of what you were talking about with Goddard and manifesting,
right,
it goes hand in hand. Because I think there's a lot of people who just want to manifest.
I hate the word. Can I stop you right there? I fucking hate the word manifest.
Okay.
I do, because I am a woo-woo bitch, right? So I have the crystals. I have the incense. I have a singing bowl that I meditate with. I am a woo-woo queen. Our next full moon is on the 12th, just so you know. I don't like the word manifesting because it's been glamorized into this trap that people get themselves in.
Kind of like with the word narcissism.
Again, another trap. It's these little trigger words that keep you stuck in this one train of thought, right? So you're not manifesting, you're trying to manifest. I call it conscious creating because I am consciously, whether I know it or not, with the things that I think and the words that I say, creating all the time. Go ahead. I just had to stop you there.
No. But, yeah.
Neville Goddard, manifesting.
Yeah, manifesting, but also putting action behind that.
Right.
And having discipline. Because it's like I'm kind of in this weird phase for myself right now where I have left a job, like I had a really good job that I loved.
Okay.
Doing IT sales, but I wanted to play music full time. I also took a look around and I was like, our world is about to radically shift because of AI in a pretty profound way that I think most people aren't prepared for yet. And I just started seeing that a little bit more because I was in IT, and decided to shift and start doing that. What I've realized, though, is pretty much the past couple of years, all I've been doing is when I get home at night, watching baseball. Like, I got away from really doing the podcast for, I say a year, but that's not entirely true. Because I had started this job, and when I was in it, this is the first time that I've ever with a job, like, tried to apply myself and do a good job. And I felt like no matter what I did, we weren't getting ahead. I'm very competitive, and I want to succeed, and I want to win. I was doing sales, and maybe this is my cardinal mistake, but I don't really give a fuck about money other than just having to pay my bills. Like, I just want to be, so I was just trying to win, I get a dopamine hit from competition and winning and feeling like I did the best that I could. And that's what sales is. But no matter what I felt like we did, it always felt like we were just getting kicked in the nuts over and over and over and over and over again. And long story short, because I'd kind of been in chill mode at night and gotten away from doing the podcast, when I started doing it again, it was like I refound a part of myself. Because we had talked a little bit about it, the Halloween special, but I had stopped really doing anything for about 3 or 6 months where I wasn't releasing any episodes. Because it took about 3 months of planning to do that first Halloween special. It was very all-inclusive. But what I decided to do, I knew that I couldn't keep doing the podcast the way that I was doing it.
Okay.
Where I was just sitting down, audio only, interviewing people. And I liked it, and I had gotten good at it, but it was as far as I felt like I could take that. And I was talking, and I've talked about this on the podcast, so please forgive me if you're hearing this again for the millionth time. But I was talking to my buddy Isaac, and I said, you know what? I want to do one episode, fucking balls to the wall, all out, do something I've never done before, something that has nothing to do with the podcast pretty much, which is the first Poptimist Halloween special. I was like, and I kind of told you what the idea was, and but when I did that, I felt like I found a new gear to kind of slide into, and it was also the same time that I started coming to this place, so it was kind of hand in hand. So I released that, and I knew, I was like, it's going to take some work to bring the show back, because I don't want to do it the way that I was doing it. I need to learn how to video edit, because it was something that I never really done before. Spent a lot of time on, and I wouldn't even say I'm a good video editor now. I can video edit my stuff. I know how to do that, and I can sit there and work on my things. If it was for someone else, I would hate it. But, like, I edited the whole special. I had a team of people helping me in every other aspect, but I co-wrote it with someone. I directed it. I mean, I was starring in it because it was my show. But it was, I had simultaneously refound and discovered a new part of myself when I had done that. And it was because I got a lot of encouragement from my friends on it. When I would tell them my idea or ideas for the script or what I was thinking, if someone's first impulse is to laugh, like have a visceral reaction, I'm like, okay, that's the path I need to head down. Because all of the artists that I love, and I'm very influenced by music, but I'm also very influenced by film. Like, I really love Quentin Tarantino. He's my all-time favorite fucking director. Scorsese, of course. I love him too. Paul Thomas Anderson, basically all of the great auteurs.
Exactly.
I'm really big fans of, and they're a huge influence on me, but I'd never really gotten to marry the sound and vision aspect. And for the first time, I included music on the podcast as well. And I would play people's songs or play a song that I did or something like that, just drop it in post. But I never consciously planned out a musical project where I was like, oh shit. And we did this really cool version of Voodoo by Godsmack with my friends Violent Moons. And it was really just weird because you wouldn't expect Violent Moons to do that. They're very witchy, spooky, like East Nashville. And that song has very masculine energy in its original version. Yeah. And I was like, if we kind of repurposed it, it becomes about a woman sacrificing a fucking man. Like, that's how I interpreted it. But doing all of these different things and kind of firing on all creative cylinders woke a part of me back up. So I started filming episodes here, and it was somewhat conscious, somewhat unconscious in a lot of ways, where I was just creating for the act of creation again, because I was excited to talk to people and do what was next. So once I kind of started ramping up, because I knew the show was going to be coming back this past April of 2025, I started planning for it in March, and I just went into promotion mode, you know? And once I was kind of doing that, I was the performative aspect of my personality, which is, you know, the Poptimist. Like, it is very much a part of me, but it's like all of these different aspects make up Taylor, you know?
Yeah.
And learning that there's a difference between the Poptimist and Taylor was a pretty big learning experience for me. You know, it was like Peter Parker and Spider-Man, or Batman and Bruce Wayne. And I think for a long time, and this is what I love about the character of Batman, Batman wants to always be Batman. He doesn't ever want to be Bruce Wayne. He's only Bruce Wayne when he has to be. He's Batman because that's who he really is. But I had to learn how to balance these things, and I'm still learning how to balance, because if we were just talking off mic, we would be having the same exact conversation, you know? I always want to be authentic and try and communicate with someone, and just be real, you know? There's a lot of fake motherfuckers in this world.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like, especially in Nashville, there's a lot of people that are performative in the wrong ways.
Oh, it's fun to fuck with them, though. Like, just let them give you the spiel, and then you can take them on like an alternate route yourself. Because you can always sense when someone's bullshitting you. You can always sense it. So I've learned in the 34 years I've been alive on this planet that I'll let them play. I'll let them say whatever it is that they want to say. And I'm into it, but I'm also gonna send them.
You're gonna run circles around them.
Yes, I will.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once I sense that, it kind of gives me this playful, you know, little banter back and forth with them. If you're gonna lie to me, you want to sell me something that isn't true, I can do the same thing for my entertainment. Not really there, just for me.
Well, it's so funny you say that, because I feel like there's an aspect of my personality that is performative in the sense where everything is one big practical joke in a lot of ways. I think there's a great do you know Queens of the Stone Age? Are you a fan of them at all? Okay, so they have this song called Feet Don't Fail Me, and one of the lyrics in the song is, to be civilized, one must tell civil lies. And I feel like that is very much like the entertainment industry.
It is.
As a whole, where it's, oh, we loved you in this, or we really like the way that you're doing this, or whatever. And I'm sure it's something that you've experienced in a different way from myself.
Sure.
Because you are a woman.
Yeah,
you know?
they want to fuck.
Yeah, they want to fuck.
They do, and I wasn't the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I respect and appreciate that, because it's hard as a man when I first start to get to know like a female creative.
Yeah.
Because they have to assume right away that I'm trying to fuck them. You know?
No, you were very professional. I did not get that vibe from you. So,
well, it's one of the things that I'm afraid of. It's like, because, and I appreciate you saying that. And I always try, I go like extra lengths to try and be that way with women, because I want them to know, hey, I respect you as a creative as well, and I see you as my equal. Like, I'm not trying, like, I don't see you as someone just to like have sex with.
Yeah.
You know? And I think a lot of the time that's one of the challenges that women face in the entertainment industry, where it's like, is this an actual opportunity, or is this just a man who wants to have sex with me?
Oh, yeah. And which story do you want to hear first? My story with Jeffrey Epstein's modeling agency, or with Harvey Weinstein? You pick.
Fuck.
You pick.
Let's go Jeffrey Epstein
Let's
first.
go. All right. So when I was 14...
This already tracks. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but it already tracks.
When I was 14, I had entered a modeling competition in Florida. And what it was, they were basically a bunch of model scouts, and they would let all of us up there and perform our talents, like a really big talent show. It was, you know, kind of bullshit at the same time, because,
Sure.
you know, they're taking money from you, and you're so poor, and you're just hoping. You're fucking hoping
Pick me.
somebody sees me. I was that pick me girl. I was there, and I was proud to have won. I won most photogenic. So that was something that stirred some attention with the agents that were there. And of course, you know, my dad's on drugs. My brother, Humpty Dumpty, who was put back together again, is causing his own chaos. My mother is trying to find this balancing act between following me where I go and finding wherever my brother is and my father. You know, there's a bunch of people to look after in this situation.
You're the catcher in the rye.
Correct. So I was informed how to conduct myself as a lady. You know, wise beyond my years, here I am. So I get these callbacks, and there's this short, hairy little French guy. His name is Jean-Luc Brunel. Jean-Luc Brunel is with Karen Models, okay? My mother walks in finally. I had been speaking with him by myself, and we're having a lovely conversation. He's telling me about how he's going to take me to France, how I'm going to live in a model house. There would be a woman that would watch over. You know, parents couldn't be there because, you know, we had to work. It would be me with other 14 to 16-year-olds in this house, and we'd go to and from these photo shoots and all these other modeling opportunities. When my mother gets there, she hears the story that he's selling me, and she starts a scene. And we're talking, I'm mortified. Here I am, somebody is holding this carrot right up to my face, and I'm ready to grab it.
Because you don't know yet.
I don't know yet. She calls him a sex trafficker, like everything that you can think of. She accuses this man of. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. This was like 2005.
That was really before that term was ever even popularized, too.
Yeah, this is between. I can't do math. I'm a girl. You knew that. So somewhere between 2005 and 2007, I'm guessing. And I just remember walking out of there, and I told her, you ruined my life. This was it. This was my opportunity. And she told me, looked into my eyes, that was sex trafficking, and one day you're going to know. Well, a few years goes by, maybe a year, actually, and she's watching the news, and this is the first time Jeffrey Epstein gets arrested.
Holy shit.
And she goes,
in
you
Florida?
see? Yes. She goes, you see, this is why I didn't let you go to France. Karen Models was Epstein's agency.
Holy fuck.
And Jean-Luc Brunel was the scout.
God damn.
So they must have seen my brother with his twisted face and my father fucked up on drugs.
And they said perfect.
She's perfect.
It's so fucking dark.
It's so dark. But I could have been a star. And you know what? Hell, this is where I'm going to be very dark here. Had I gone to France, it would have been me, not Ghislaine Maxwell. No one would know who Epstein was because I would be running that ship, okay? All right? It would have been me. I would have looked at that as an enterprise, all right? We wouldn't be talking about Epstein right now.
Yeah.
I'm so kidding, but you know what I mean.
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
like, if I would have gone, I know I'm the personality type that would have been like, okay, sure. So I'm only getting paid $300 for this. Let's up this a little bit, all right? Come on now.
Do you need me to go get some girls?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Put $1,200 in my hand.
Yeah.
This isn't gonna work.
Then we can talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a head trip. But like, what did your mom see like the whole Epstein thing unfold?
She died. So she died February 2nd of 2019. Epstein was arrested in August of 2019, and that's something that I wish she could have seen.
Yeah.
Because she was right.
She would have been so fucking vindicated. Yeah.
It was him.
Yeah.
And those are moments that are frozen in time for me. Seeing and meeting Jean-Luc Brunel, who was also arrested for sex trafficking and killed himself in jail. Shocker.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
that's a fucking head trip, dude.
It's a head trip. So that's my Epstein story. I didn't meet Jeffrey, but I met the scout, and I was headed to Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Into Maxwell.
Yeah. Madame.
Yeah. She might have been the fucking in charge of whoever was the house mom or whatever they called it.
And I would have been telling them, I'm 36% Ashkenazi. Yeah, I understand. What can I do? I don't want to do this forever. Where do I fit into this operation?
Yeah.
Yeah. It would have gone down as something as dark as that. It really would have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's insane to think of the different path that your life could have gone down.
Yeah, I was so ready. What
did you say to your mom when that popped up on the TV a year later? Were you like, holy fuck, you were right? Or were you still...
I was sour.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like...
You were 15, like...
Yeah.
Who cares? You know, you don't want to admit she's right yet.
Yeah. It was so interesting because it was almost like boom, boom, boom. You know, like the how it kind of hit. And then thinking back on it, it trips me out because I was literally this close. Had I had a mother that was desperate enough for that money, and we were, mind you, we went from everything to nothing. And here I am, I'm hoping that somebody sees me for my talent. And, I mean, I guess somebody did. In hindsight. But all it would have taken is somebody desperate enough for their daughter to make it. Kind of like what happened with Justin Bieber in a way.
Yeah.
Or I don't want to just label him.
Yeah.
But
I get what you're saying, though.
Child stars.
No father around. Mother that wants to try and get the money.
And if they are around, they're partying with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I averted that for sure. My father was so vacant. He was there to fill the physical violent aspect of my life along with the dysfunction of the drugs. You know, that's where he fit into my life. But my mother was solid and she was smart. She was the most intelligent person that I had ever met. And even when I met Harvey Weinstein, I have the invitation on my bookshelf because I'll never get rid of it. I was invited to his Broadway opening. It was his first ever Broadway play, and it was Finding Neverland. Also ironic here, Peter Pan, the boy that never grew up. You know, that's his first Broadway play, which flopped, and it sucked. But I was excited. This was my first ever red carpet, you know?
Yeah.
So this is a big deal for me, and Helen Mirren is there, and, like, I'm walking behind her, like, this is my dream. Again, here I am. Please, somebody save me. Someone help me. Please, somebody help me. Someone help me.
Yeah.
And I had spoken to my mother on the phone and my grandmother, not Nana, but my grandmother, my father's mother. And she called to tell me that Harvey Weinstein just got acquitted on this charge. I guess someone had tried to sue him. Numerous women have, and if I'm not mistaken, 5 or 6 had sued him and he had paid them off.
Totally.
So she read this little blurb in the New Yorker or New York Post, something like that, and called me. She's like, I don't want you to be alone with Harvey. Please don't be alone with Harvey.
How old were you when this happened?
22 or 23.
So still just dumb.
And I'm there in a vintage Versace gown that I had to rent for the evening. I have my hair done. I did my makeup. I'm looking fabulous. I was ready. Again, perfect pick. The perfect pick. Here I come. I ignored my mother and my grandmother and my date, who was up in the balcony section. Don't talk to Harvey. I went right up to him. And just for effect here, I'm going to be Harvey for a second.
Okay.
And you're going to be eager to shake my hand.
Okay.
This is what it felt to shake Harvey Weinstein's hand.
Okay, so he pulled away from you.
And it was cold and wet.
Oh.
It was cold and wet. And he didn't really pull it away. It was just a dead hand. It was a dead hand. And he was kind of sweaty. I don't know. Maybe he was just nervous, just got acquitted.
He always kind of looked like that, though, like sweaty, slovenly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I have cold hands. I don't like this about me. I think it's like a circulation thing, maybe. I don't know. Who cares? I was so put off by that because here I am. I'm so excited, and I'm hot, and I'm young and dumb. I'm ready. Like, just
powerful.
Just offer the deal, man. Let's go. Where's my movie? His wife came over and says, look how beautiful you are. Come here, sweetheart. Would you like champagne? Puts her arm around me and brings me to the bar. And it's weird, like, how everything works out, because she, I guess, knew who I was with. I signed in non-disclosure, so I can't say who it was. And I wouldn't do that to him because I'm the only girl to ever tell him to go fuck himself. So there's also that. Anyway, I go up there to my date, and he tells me, I told you before, I will send you home if you don't listen to me again. I will send you home. So you're either going to listen to me when I say don't talk to someone, or you can go back to Tennessee.
Was he trying to protect you?
I think he was.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a closeted performer. And that's all I'm going to say. I was his date.
So you were a beard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the term, right?
Oh, my God. Listen, I'm perfect for that, too. Come on now. Tell me to get dressed up. Let's go to the red carpet. Let's go to the Tribeca Film Festival. Let's do it. I will be theatrical with you. I am a chick with a metaphorical cock. You know what I mean? And my balls, they scrape to the floor. They have abrasions on them. They're so big. He loved that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So so there was even less of a horse in the race for him, so to speak, because he wasn't trying to bang you, basically.
He wasn't trying to bang me. He had met me on something that I worked on, and he liked me.
Yeah.
And it just so happened to be somebody who is or was popular.
Okay.
And that's all I'm going to say, because I don't need him trying to call me.
Will you tell me off mic?
No.
Oh, damn. Okay.
No.
You know what?
We're not
Respect.
friends like that yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I wouldn't do that to him.
Okay.
Because even though he pissed me off in the end, I would never out him.
Sure.
Yeah.
I can respect that.
He can't even come out. So,
Yeah.
And I find that to be tragic, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
I personally,
Especially in today's day and age.
yeah, you have to hide who you truly are.
Yeah.
But he felt comfortable with me.
Sure.
So even though I don't like him anymore,
You want to protect that secret. I definitely respect that.
yeah. Yeah, I'm surely an Elizabeth Taylor in this type of situation.
Fair enough.
Uh-huh.
So what ended up happening? Like Harvey's wife came over and she took you to the bar.
Quick. It was.
Was she trying to cut it off? Because she.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was so weird. So I come in and it was a blue carpet. It wasn't a red carpet, but it was, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I got what you're saying.
Yeah. So I'm behind Helen Mirren. I say hello to her. I've never, in the line of work, even though I didn't technically launch the way I wanted to, I was always very respectful and I was never a fan. So I would have these conversations with famous people and they would respect me because I wasn't trying to get a picture. I wasn't trying to get an autograph. Sure. But she felt almost like, I guess, like sympathetic towards me because I didn't know how to do it. So she showed me how to walk the red carpet, blue carpet. It was a big moment for me because who doesn't love Helen Mirren? And she's teaching me how to do this, how to stop and pose. Please, this is a bug in the street.
You're
right
just
here.
riding so high.
I'm so high, and
yeah.
and here I am. Like I think I'm going to be seen by the biggest producer in Hollywood. He's going to save me. Instead, he gives me his dead cold hand that's covered in cold sweat, and just kind of stares me down. It was weird. It was weird, but it all happened so quickly that when I think about it, when I reflect on it, it's almost like somebody hit fast forward on a tape. That's kind of how I remember it. It's easier for me to remember the Karen Model situation because it was so traumatizing having her scream at Jean-Luc Brunel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was the only thing that, if we paused in that moment of time, was the way he looked at me and the way he shook my hand and how quick his wife was there. Because I think the guy that I was with knew that I wasn't going to listen. I think he knew how hot to trot and eager I was.
Yeah, and he knew the kind of guy that Harvey was.
Correct, and he wasn't going to tell me that. So I respect him a lot for knowing that I had a big mouth, that I was young, eager, willing to please, and that I could have not even just stuck my hand in the lion's mouth, just basically opened the mouth and jumped in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And gotten eaten alive.
Yeah. Yeah, because when you have the type of personality that I have, I wouldn't have made it in Hollywood long. I'm somebody that questions authority. I'm someone that when I see inauthenticity, I will speak it out loud. I will tell you how I'm feeling, how you made me feel in that moment. And I'm not afraid of an argument. So I had gone to all of these big events, and I always thought to myself, I was so bitter. Why isn't it me? I'm so much more talented than all these other girls. Why isn't it me? Because I'm me.
I can relate to that to a certain degree. I feel like, for me, very similar, where if I got a problem, I say it right away. Mm-hmm. And the music business industrial complex does not like when someone steps out of line.
No, of course not.
And I have always been someone that, even if a small opportunity comes along, some people would call it self-sabotage, but I don't see it that way. If the thing, and maybe this is another aspect of my personality, and due to the way that I grew up, but I really feel like I can't take the raw end of a deal. Like, if I know I'm getting fucked and things aren't equal, if the ball was in my court, I will make it a little bit, either I will try to make it as equal as possible of a winning situation, or have the other person get a little bit of a better situation than me. You know, it's like if I slice a sandwich in half, I'm always going to try and get it as close to equal as possible. If it's not equal, I'll give the other person the bigger half of the sandwich, even though it might be minuscule and you might not notice. But I always want to be generous where I can or create win-win situations. In the entertainment industry, it's not really like that.
No, it's not.
You are supposed to eat the whole shit sandwich yourself.
You are, and they look for people that come from trauma, and I think that there are two different classifications of that. You have people like you and I, who our shadows became warriors, defenders, ready to clock someone if it came down to it.
We're fighting to the death.
We're fighting to the death. That's not the type of trauma they want.
No.
They want more...
submissive, passive.
Because it's more of an activated inner child wound. And that's what they're looking for, I think. That's something that you can manipulate and you can control. You can control the outcome of that person's success because you can guilt them, shame them. You can talk down to them. You can pass them around to your friends. That wasn't going to happen for me. And that wasn't going to happen for you. No.
No. Well, it's just like, did you see the Joker movie?
Which one?
With Joaquin Phoenix?
The first one?
The first one.
Yeah, because that Lady Gaga one, I rather...
I haven't seen the Lady Gaga one.
No. But the first one, yes.
Okay, so you know how he has that confrontation at the end where he has finally, like, he's killed a couple people at that point. He's put on the makeup. And he's like, can you call me, when you bring me out, can you call me Joker? And he confronts him on stage and then he says, you know, you brought me here to make fun of me.
Yeah.
And he goes on that whole monologue where he's like, basically, he tells that joke about the drunk driver and everyone gasp. And he's like, who's to decide what's funny and what's not? And it's these gatekeepers in these power positions.
Yeah.
You know? And I really loved it. I felt like it was the perfect allegory in a lot of ways for the entertainment industry because what does he do? Murray Franklin, Robert De Niro, his character, seems like a piece of shit. Like, I'm sure if we did a whole movie just on him, there was a lot of seedy, awful shit that he was up to. Not justifying that he gets murdered in that movie by Joaquin Phoenix, but it's the visceral action of him pulling out that gun. And before that, he says, how about another joke, Murray? And he's like, we've had enough of your jokes. And he pulls out the gun. He puts one in his fucking skull.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like the entertainment industry, the people that I've met, the so-called people that can help me, I've always taken the Joaquin Phoenix Joker route with them, where it's like, can I tell you a joke? And it's a joke that they do not find funny and that they don't want to hear.
No.
You know? But I also feel like for myself, I am never going to fit, and I knew this coming to Nashville, even before I stepped foot here when I was 23 years old. The industry is never going to pick someone like me.
No.
They're never going to pick someone who has conversations like this where we talk about and this is a relatively new thing that it's talked about publicly.
Correct.
Because for a long time, like, it really hasn't entered the public consciousness until I would say the past 8 or 9 years.
No.
It's been less than a decade that people talk about how these people prey upon people.
I think it started, in 2016, 2017? That's when it first started being spoken about. And I look at my life, and I've seen so many of these people that I've met just fall. So many of them.
They come and go.
They come and they go. And I stand by what I always believed in, and that I am an artist. Even with trauma bonding, I'm not trying to be some super successful person here. I'm trying to help people and help myself in the process because it makes me feel good. Alexandra doesn't have to try and be famous anymore. I only ever tried to be discovered because I tried to save my family. I didn't ever care about fame. It was, I need the money because I don't want to live this way.
And you wanted to help.
Yeah. And, when my mom died, I really felt like a failure. Because I did all of this because I just wanted to save her. And I saw how hard she worked. And I saw how my brother struggled and how people made fun of him. And I thought maybe I could just make it better. If I could just have that unlimited reach where everything was at my fingertips. And you know what? I guess God just doesn't want that for me. And I'm not a failure. If anything, I'm a survivor of so many things. So many different traumas that have been interlaced into my life. I somehow am still here and I'm still breathing and I'm fucking sane. And I am at a place in my life where I'm not going to do anything unless I want to. Because I want to feel good. I don't want to be numb anymore. I don't want to say yes out of fear. I don't want to have to work myself to death. I'm going to enjoy what I'm doing. And when I'm not enjoying it, I'm not going to do it. Because I accept who I am. I understand why things didn't work out for me the way that I had dreamed and fantasized that they would. And it was because who I am in all actuality, in my authenticity, is so much better than wearing that mask and pretending that I'm someone that I'm not, trying to fit into circles with evil fucking people.
They are evil.
I know.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate the vulnerability, you know?
Yeah, you actually got me to cry, and I want people to see that, because there are so many people that looked at me in this industry as a hard ass, and it was because I was protecting this wounded child in me. And I want people to see that I am vulnerable, because I never allowed people to see it. And I'm working on that. I don't want to be afraid to cry. I want people to see me for who I am and that I do feel so deeply, even though I wasn't allowed to for so many years.
Well, it's hard, and it was something that you had to relearn how to do, or maybe learn for the first time how to do, was to feel.
Yeah.
Because it was like taking it back to when you said you were in that hospital room and your brother was brought back to life, and that you had that moment of clarity where you said, I'm an adult now.
Yeah.
And I have to be responsible now. That is a very difficult and sobering thing for a child to experience. And it can happen to the rich, it can happen to the poor, it can happen to anyone that they're in that position, and each one has its pluses and minuses. But the fact that you have survived and have gotten to where you are today as a functioning adult, you should be very proud of yourself.
Yeah. I am. The more that I read, the more that I do these episodes. Like I told you, I am on a little bit of a hiatus because something had happened to a friend, and I'm emotionally regulating myself since that had triggered some things for me, but I'm also trying to be there for somebody that I love deeply.
Yeah.
Yeah. My girlfriends are my family, and I'm so lucky that God when my mother died, I had this network of brave, beautiful women that just picked me up. And I mean, there was nothing to me. I was so drained and heartbroken to lose my best friend. But God put these people in my life that I never had to be worried about. Nobody was calling my mom and telling her that, you know, I'm doing this or I'm doing that, I'm fucking up here. You know, I beat that generational curse because I like to think that I'm not someone with narcissistic personality disorder. I know my mother, the victim of a narcissist, did the best that she could. But when she passed, it was almost like she said, without saying it, I was wrong. She had always told me, don't trust anyone. Don't trust anyone other than me. Thank God that I did. Because I would have had nobody. So this is my way of being able to give back. And I will be back to making episodes. I'm always open to topics, anything that deals with mental health, psychology, different forms of trauma, spirituality, and discovering the self. That's what I would like to focus on. And I would like to be paid for that at some point.
What a concept.
What a concept. I would really like to do that and coach MMA. That's my dream life now. We've gone from being, you know, this gifted, dramatic actress to being real and helping people and coaching MMA.
We can do anything we set our minds to.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, will you just talk a little bit about the Wolf of Wall Street experience and how you broke your foot and all of that?
Oh my God, it's so stupid. Okay. So what happened is Mr. Scorsese wanted me to throw a giant bump of cocaine into the air. And of course, I said, sure. So, and I need you all to be like, you know, use your creativity here. Imagine with me. So I'm in this airplane aisle, right? So imagine the seats. There's usually 3. There's a bar that's supposed to be screwed down on the back and on the front. So as I get ready to throw this giant pile of cocaine into the air, I feel that the aisle itself, it's not screwed down where I am. It's only the front bar. The front bar seems secure, but as I'm pressing up against the back bar, it's loose, you know? It's like it's kind of moving a little bit.
It's movie magic. You know, nothing is perfect.
Nothing is perfect,
yeah.
Correct. So I'm tiny, the shortest little Dutch girl you ever did see. I throw this pile of cocaine and I'm pushed up against it. So it's now on the front bar, right? This back bar is up in the air because my weight is on the seats. Somebody then runs and jumps on the seats that are in front of me. And it trapped my foot.
Oh, fuck.
And I should have brought them too. Had I known we were going to talk about this, I would have shown you the pair of stilettos I was wearing because you can still see the impression of the bar.
Oh, my God.
And it was so weird because I couldn't decipher that I was in pain. I have such a high pain tolerance, which is another thing that survivors of childhood trauma usually deal with. So I'm having a hard time figuring out why I'm hurting and where am I hurting. But I start to audibly hear 1 crack, 2 crack, 3 crack, pop. So the pop was my big toenail popping off entirely from the pressure. Oh,
holy
yeah.
Fuck.
Oh, yeah. I broke the whole foot. Yeah. And I remember when they called cut, there was like blood coming out.
Oh my God.
Because I was missing the toenail. So all the blood was...
Jeez.
Yeah. So I remember, I think it was the assistant director. He picked me up and he had me. And he was taking me off set. And I was like, you better cut this fucking foot off. I'm not leaving a Martin Scorsese set. No. Like, I'm screaming. Like, again, here I am. The carrot is here.
Yeah.
And I'm being taken away again. And this was something I was like, come on, God, you got to throw me a fucking bone here, please. The cutest thing I've ever seen in my entire life was Martin Scorsese running with a pair of slippers. And he sat down with me. And he said, I can't have you finish this scene. But what I can do is I can send you to the hospital in a Cadillac Escalade. Big at the time, 2013. And I can have you come back. How does that sound? So I was like, okay, I get to come back. So I'm not kicked off of this movie. He was like, oh, no. No, you're not.
We need you.
Yeah.
you have to come back.
Please don't sue me, basically, is what he was saying. And I'm like, all like starry-eyed and what have you, thinking that he's just being nice. No, he doesn't want you to sue.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Again, a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't know.
How old were you then?
So I posed for Playboy when I was 20 for the first time. So I think it was a year later. So I was 22 or 23, somewhere in there. Again, girl, not good at math. I'm not going to take the time to add and subtract in my mind. But it was somewhere in there. So I got to the hospital. They're like, the foot's broken. I don't know how you're going to go back to set, but here's some painkillers. Here you go.
Yeah.
So I go back home, and I'm fucked up for like 2 weeks, and I get the phone call to come back. So I go back.
And were you paid this whole time?
Yeah. Because I was supposed to be there for a month. So I was technically there for a month. They rearranged everything for me.
Yeah.
Is essentially what happened. I don't know what other scene I was supposed to have. But when I got back, I remember that they wanted me to be in the same heels that I broke my foot in because they were my shoes anyway. And I just remember thinking to myself, I can't walk in 6-inch stilettos right now. What am I going to do? And then I thought to myself, electrical tape is black. So it's not duct tape, but it'll do the same thing. So I I electrical taped my foot into the stilettos. And I actually created a cast. Like, I literally did it around the whole foot, and then I did a round of it in it. So I was quite literally trapped in the shoe. I would have to cut my way out of the shoe.
Damn.
But I wasn't gonna leave a Martin Scorsese set. I wasn't willing.
Yeah.
So I think maybe in hindsight, the reason that I got put on the DVD cover is because I didn't sue. They were like, let's just copy and paste her over and over and over again. This is what we need. Make her the tracking shot of the office party scene. She'll like that. But I know that, even though it sounds kind of seedy the way I'm saying that, and probably realistically that was the thought. However, I know that Scorsese and DiCaprio adored me.
Yeah.
I know that they really did like me. So maybe it was just to give me a better experience overall.
After your toenail?
No, the whole foot was broken.
Yeah.
The toenail popped off.
Yeah.
So it was like, and she's still in the heels.
Yeah.
She's still here. She's coming to rehearsals, and the foot's broken and not bitching.
Yeah.
Where are we going to find someone that can do that?
That's true. Well, I feel like most people would have jumped to suing automatically. I think if I was in your position, I probably would have felt the same way. Like, I would have been like, they're about to kick me off the movie.
Yeah, no, I didn't even think about suing at all. It was never brought up to me except from my mother. She was like, we have the option. I was like, no. There is no option. I'll never work again.
Yeah.
I have to do this, and I have to do this correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. You have lived a fucking life. I feel like we could do multiple podcasts. I would absolutely fucking love to have you back on again.
Absolutely.
For sure. But where can people find you at?
Okay, so my Instagram is AVZBBY. You'll be very confused. I don't know what I'm doing. Like I said, I'm just having fun now. But that's where you can find me. Also, TikTok is AVZ Comedy. And my YouTube is in the link. So I couldn't get the full trauma bonding name. I had to put a dash.
Okay.
And it's annoying. I don't know who took it on YouTube, but if you follow the link in both Instagram and TikTok,
they'll get to you.
You'll be able to get to me. It will say Trauma Bonding Show. We have a lot of fun there. Like I said, I will be back into posting. I have things that I will ask you because I edit everything myself.
Yeah. We can talk about all that.
I'm having so many issues when it comes to doing it myself. I have to figure out how to consolidate it down to where I can do this every week, and I don't know how yet.
I'm still figuring it out myself, but I'd be happy to guide you any way I can.
Yeah, and 2 things before we leave. 1, Invisalign. If I was lisping, I call it wisping. I've got trenches in the back of these molars that I should be hiding in World War II in, okay? They're big gaps. It's hard to pronunciate. I'm very embarrassed about it. So why not start a YouTube show, you know? And then 2, what was I going to say? The sound on the first ever trauma bonding episode, I don't know what was going on with it. I tried. I have a friend who was in Deer Tick, the band.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, he got me all this audio stuff. And he was so excited about it. I didn't know how to use it. And the clicking and the smacking of my mouth has been an issue.
Here's what I'll tell you. And we can talk more about this after the fact. But the most important thing right now is just the act of doing.
Okay.
Like, when I listened to the episode, because I remember that you had posted about that, I didn't see anything that was bad. Like, when I first started this show, I put my phone on fucking airplane mode and recorded that way. I didn't have microphones. I didn't have shit.
Okay.
So you're already off to a better start. But yeah, let's wrap it up. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Fantastic episode. Keep on dreaming. See you next week.